Hello. Today I want to talk with you in response to a question. The question is, now that I realise I have hidden childhood trauma, should I be talking to my parents about it? We've never talked about what went on at home. Now it depends on the situation. Some parents are healthy, more mature, and the trauma, the experiences that you've discovered that were sitting there undealt with inside might not be associated with them. Maybe it was abuse by a neighbour, maybe it was something that happened at school, maybe it was experiences outside of the home which they had nothing to do with. In which case, well, you probably already talked with them about it. And perhaps if you talk to them now and they didn't know about it, they'd be very open, they'd be very receptive, they'd be very supportive, maybe feel very guilty that they weren't there to help. And you would know, if you had a sense of parents like that, you would probably have already spoken with them about it. If it was something new for you, you could definitely give that a go, and that could be very helpful. But so often our hidden, unresolved experiences that result in what we'd call trauma can be things that happen at home. It might be direct, things like being abused, violence, attack, whatever, happening directly to us as a child or happening indirectly around us, like domestic violence happening between the parents. Sometimes the trauma is a result of what we didn't get. Maybe we didn't get support, maybe there was no emotional engagement, maybe the parents were absent or narcissistic or just really emotionally neglectful. And so a lot of the hidden stuff, a lot of the stuff that has to get buried, internalized, suppressed, repressed unconsciously is because it's about the home environment. We're having to adapt to that home, we're having to cope with that first world of our childhood. And if that's not quite right, and it usually has something, not quite right about it, but if there's some really significant difficulties in that, then of course we've internalized it. Things can become hidden. They certainly become stuck, and it really is all about that environment. And usually it's parents that are the primary factors in that. So I always recommend to my clients that you give yourself as much time as you want to do your own inner work for a while, to do your therapy, to do your processes, do your healing modalities, to really shift that energy, get to a more comfortable place with it all. And that might be a month, might be 3 months, might be a year, as long as you want, as long as you need to really come to grips with that and get to a much more comfortable place around it. And why I suggest that is that if we go into a conversation, say with parents, and we're still carrying a lot of charge around it, there might be a lot of anger, a lot of fear, a lot of guilt, a lot of shame, a lot of grief. If we're carrying a lot of charge and we go to the parents, well, subconsciously our charge will activate theirs. We're much more likely to get a defensive reaction or a dismissive reaction, don't want to know. It's not generally going to go well. So unless the parents themselves have done a lot of therapy, a lot of growth, a lot of work over the years since that childhood, in which case they've probably already come to you to apologise. They've probably already come to you to discuss it. But yeah, if we give ourselves time to do the inner work first, really get on top of it, really, chip away at that boulder, really clear that stuck energy down to a manageable level. It doesn't have to be completely resolved. I don't know if and when we ever get to that complete resolution. Maybe we don't want to, but when we get it down to a level that it's not running the show, we're not reactive, we're not triggered all the time, and we're much more on top of it, then we're really approaching parents on higher vibrations. So we're coming to them on a higher frequency, and we're not going to be subconsciously triggering them. They might be defensive, they still might be unable to hear it, they might be too stuck, wounded, immature or whatever, but we're giving it a better chance. And we're not so dependent on the outcome too. We're not needing them to get it for our own healing. There's no healing in that actually. We're not depending on their reaction for our own journey. We're just giving it a crack. we're just giving it a chance. We're just seeing if, I wonder if they can rise to a better level, a better understanding, a better connection with me around it. And look, if that's the case, that can be healing. That can be healing for the relationship, that can be healing for both people. But yeah, let's do your own work first. Give yourself that time. I call it a moratorium. That means just put it off for a while. Just park it on the shelf there for a while and permission yourself into your own healing, because that's where it has to happen anyway. It's happening within yourself, and we need lots of love and support to do that. And then when you feel really like the majority of it's clear, at least 60% of it is clear, then might be a good time to have a go, do some research, visit the parents, maybe, bring it up in some way, see how you go. If you are heard, if you get a good response, great. If they're just not up to it, well, you've got confirmation of why you had all that baggage in the first place, and that's helpful in its own way. Hope that's helpful. Hope that makes sense. Please reach out in any way if I can answer more questions or help. I appreciate you subscribing to the channel, following me. That encourages me to keep doing this work that I love to do so much. So, God bless you. Take care.